Leeds. Once I want Leeds to win, Phil, and they let me down.
You know what I think Leeds' problem is? They've started winning first halves, haven't they?
You're going wrong now.
Yeah,
the wrong way around.
They won the last three first halves.
They need to stop scoring in the first half and just save it for the second.
Or maybe have a man sent off. They've gone from being, you're not going to know what they're going to do from one game to the next, to you don't really know what they're going to do from one half to the next, to now not knowing what they're going to do within a half. Yeah. But
is this unstructured rugby? Is this what it is?
I think part of it is, and it's excused. You take 7 players out, and you lose arguably their form forward in the warm up, which means you've got to put her back on the bench and restricts your injury. You know, Tyndall didn't come on until a minute from time, so you're basically playing with one less on your bench. Yeah. That is disruptive. So as well as Castleford played to win it 10 down with 10 minutes to go. Too many people playing out of position and not enough quality on the field. And Andy last said it. They knew in all the build-up that was the perfect chance to beat a team that was going through some adversity. So,
I was sort of walking out with them. Well, not walking out with them, but it was the last game of the day, wasn't it? So obviously people were streaming out the stadium, and the Leeds fans had the sort of the heads down, and they were chuntering. It's going to be a long way home. They were sort of saying. But I thought, well. Yeah, I know that obviously they're having a really up and down season, but I think I'm with you. I think the injuries on that for going into the game and then on the game had a big impact on the outcome.
I would ask the supporters of Leeds, and I mean Leeds Runners and Leeds United, do you ever listen to the words of the song that you sing? Because it talks about ups and downs and stuff, but it seems you like the ups, but when the downs come around, you're all blaming everyone.
Well, no, they're only blaming Daryl Alford in the same way that Wakefield fans are blaming Tom Lynham.
At least no one's sold your stadium to purchase Sampdoria or something. So.
It's never one player's fault, is it? No matter what happens. It's
never and to be fair, it's never a winger's fault either. You've got severe structural issues if you're just blaming a winger.
It's a 17-man team effort, and it's 80 minutes, so, you know.
In the last 10 years at Wakefield, it's either been Tom Lynham or James Child, but he's retired now. So that was one of my favourite messages we had on the in the old Radio Yorkshire days, blaming you for Wakefield losing because we never won any games in that league, but because we were rubbish.
Any refereeing controversies? Did you pick up?
Ben Reynolds getting sent off.
Bear in mind, I haven't seen any action from Sunday because it was my son's second birthday party, so I've seen one or two clips of tries. That fabulous St Helens try I saw on Twitter was just incredible. That
Tommy Makinson
offload pass, it was incredible. So no, I haven't seen the send off. I don't know anything about it.
Send off was just
so. Yeah, so I've not really seen.
And we've had the discipline, right? We've got two.
Yeah, everyone's been
two
banned.
matches.
Yeah. I don't think really there was much controversy on the Saturday, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I know one or two people were concerned about the first sin bin on the first game, but it's a late challenge. It's on a kicker. It's high. You know, I think it makes it difficult for the referee to perhaps not sin bin, and then a few minutes later, there's an opportunity where the referee's going to take it with both hands and show balance in the fact that, you know, Coote I think ends up going off for HIA anyway, but he's clearly hit directly in the head. Yes, he was falling, so there's a mitigating circumstance. So the sin bin seemed spot on to me. So from a referee's perspective, Magic Weekend is a challenge because you've got, usually for the first time, all 6 games on TV back to back, all with a video referee. And so automatically the referees under greater scrutiny on their video referees, and
you've got 10 jobs to do, because if you're not refereeing, you're video ref. If you're not video ref, you touch judge, and if you're not touch judge,
they'll all double up.
You're getting the drinks in. So
but no, in terms of the decision making, it's, you know, from one game to the next, you've got to have consistency across your competition, because if you don't, then it highlights it.
Yeah, I think Aaron Moore came in for a bit of criticism early in the Lee game that he did, your game. But
for sending?
No, I think there were quite a lot of set restarts. Was it? It might have been Marcus Griffiths gave a lot of set restarts, but I don't think any referee was.
Marcus does like to give quite a few set restarts, to be fair. But I didn't see that. I didn't see that game, and you know, I'm being tongue in cheek there. I mean, I heard a comment about the slowness of one of the games.
Yeah, Rowan Smith was talking.
Rowan Smith was complaining
about the cascade.
Yeah, but I saw a bit of that game. The second half, it didn't seem especially close to me. And look, you know, when the referees sit down and do the reviews, Opta will have statted all the play the ball speeds, and they'll be able to determine whether the play the balls were slow or not.
Yeah, and I think again, you know, players are making a lot of errors in their own quarter, which is not
so many errors. There were so many errors in that Castleford Leeds game. There was so many. To be honest, two poor teams actually.
Yeah.
No, they were, and again,
no, it's close.
If people want
a game being close isn't the same as a game being quality.
No, absolutely not. And that point remains for the week before when Leeds played Saints in the Golden Point game. It wasn't actually, in terms of quality, it wasn't the best quality game. Was it entertaining? Yes, it was, but it probably wasn't as good as the Warrington League game on the same night, which I'd said to you I thought would be a cracking game, and it wasn't from the bits I saw of it.
Hull KR Wigan the night before went to Golden Point as well.
I thought that was a better quality game than the Leeds game.
Yeah. But the fans have voted. They like Golden Point. Yeah. They were all tuning in that. Yeah. Big viewing figures for Golden Point games. We were told.
Yeah, and ultimately that's why Golden Point was brought in. It was brought in because there was evidence that people will tune in when they know the game's going to Golden Point. So,
but I go back to what's the point of Magic Weekend if there isn't an outcome at the end of it? So if Golden Point excites people, particularly those who haven't watched many of the previous 80 minutes, but they'll tune in like we do when we hear there's a penalty shootout.
Who did not watch Ross County versus Partick Thistle yesterday? Straight. Right, it's finished now. Rugby League straight over. Fantastic entertainment.
I mean, for me, I personally don't like Golden Point because it ends up being a drop goal-a-thon if you're not careful.
But then it is in the 5 minutes before you go to Golden Point.
Possibly, but then it just...
There were 9 missed one-pointers in that Leeds St Helens game.
But then you end up with...
Which half of them came before
15 minutes of Golden Point. The last 5 plus the 10, but I'm not a big fan of it, but I know why we have it, and for that reason I can accept why we've got it.
It must be a Dewsbury thing, because Anthony Byrne has written to Rugby League and League Express, and he's saying that we should get rid of Golden Point because when he came back from national service in 1954, which is before ITV existed, so before anyone would have mentioned Philip Schofield, if we'd had Golden Point in 1954, we wouldn't have had the big crowd at Odsal, and the history of Rugby League would be different. You could have bloody filled in Odsal because we have to bang on about that all the time. Did we mention Hull?
It's not that long ago that we got rid of Challenge Cup finals as a replay. It was still down. It was in the last, 10 years or something, that it was still down as replays. We just didn't end up with draws, luckily, at the end, or unluckily, at the end of 80 minutes.
At Ellen Road,
I couldn't imagine going to Wembley and then not seeing a result. That seems bizarre. So I
can remember 1982. We went back to Ellen Road for
did people not walk away like just deflated as just... It was just an anticlimax.
Yeah, they were just going, I don't know if I can afford to go again on Thursday.
Imagine today people saying, pay another 20 quid, come on.
Well, more than that, with this congested fixture list that we've got. When can you go and have the Challenge Cup final in October the 25th?
So Golden Point will be here to stay, there's no doubt about that, because it's just another layer of drama.
Yeah. And
drama sells.
Like and sport is about winners and losers.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Hull
and it is what it is.
Beat Warrington in a game which had, I think, the best kits of the weekend, and I've got to say, whoever signed off Lee and Wakefield, disgraceful. That was shocking, absolutely shocking. I'm assuming the RFL have no say in this Magic Weekend kits, but someone should have thought, right, Lee have got this white shirt with bits on and dark shorts, and Wakefield have got a grey shirt with a V and dark shorts. No, come on now.
I think the shirts
Wakefield was
work.
About £3 worth of shirts.
I do think that having a specialist shirt and a story behind it really works. And I wouldn't discourage clubs from doing it, but could you not just liaise amongst you when you know what the fixture is and say, our kit's going to be for this cause and it'll be that design? With the greatest respect, you should never wear grey.
Well, we've had this discussion before, haven't we? I mean, I saw
but there were some great kits.
Swinton against Featherstone at the weekend.
Oh man, yeah.
But Swinton in blue shirt with a white V with white shorts. Featherstone in blue and white with white shorts. I mean, it's just madness. I don't know what's gone on there, whether that was the kick directive or whether it was a mistake, but that's clearly not right.
I do think though that the Doddy Weir kit was great.
Yeah.
I thought the Saints kit I didn't think was going to work when you heard it's sort of Whitehaven chocolate and
well, it did, didn't
and
it?
Actually when you hear that's the kit they wore 150 years ago and it worked. It was great. I thought the whole kit was good.
I've completely forgotten the name of the really famous player Warrington signed a couple of years ago. Legendary player, played about 2 games.
Andrew Jones.
No.
Not Andrew Jones.
No, a couple of years ago. He retired and then he came back. GI, Greg Inglis.
Oh, right.
Got it.
Not
Warrington have got more value for money from him than Josh Maguire, who's going to get another long ban because he can't keep his gob shut, seemingly.
I don't think it's his gob shut, it's what he says when he opens it.
I mean, Liam Watts gets banned all the time, but at least it's for rugby reasons because, he can't control his arms or whatever. But
so did he not play this weekend?
No, because he was already under the... He's at tribunal this week.
Right.
For the same issue that he was at the beginning of the season.
But for me, that's probably it. He'll either get found guilty, in which case, if he gets found guilty, he'll get charged with similar to what he was charged with before, or he'll get not guilty. There won't be a halfway house in it. Because they'll either say there's insufficient evidence to demonstrate the threshold of proof or whatever, or he will be guilty and therefore he'll get a long ban. So it's one or the other.
Blame Lee's kit.
James McDonnell sent off against St Helens for allegedly punching Johnny Lomax.
Oh, okay, right,
seen on the evidence of a touch judge.
Yeah.
Lomax comes up with blood, possibly even thinks he's been punched. So the decision to send him off is, on the word of the touch judge, justified. The footage is looked at, there's no evidence, but he gets a 2-game ban. He then appeals on the basis of the fact that there is no evidence, and they go, oh yeah, there's no evidence, you don't have to have your ban. I get why he was sent off.
Yeah, I think they presented additional evidence at the hearing, didn't they, of Johnny Lomax having a cut to his eye, which demonstrated that this injury had already occurred prior. So there was some prior evidence, because if you go to
but there was no
appeal,
evidence,
you have to present something additional. Well, look, I was surprised that they charged it, to be honest, because there have been a number of other incidents in the past where players have been dismissed, and even for referee abuse, where they can't seem to demonstrate it on the pitch, or there's a piece of foul play that happens on a championship game on the blind side of the camera that you've got a touch judge and a referee that can see it but the camera can't, and they've not charged it. So I was surprised that they charged it, to be honest. Now whether they charged it on the basis of, yes, they've got a touch judge report here, and so they back the touch judge's report, but it didn't surprise me he got not guilty. And that's not to say, by the way, that he didn't punch him. I'm not saying that the touch judge necessarily got it wrong, but look, to send a player off is a big decision, so one would hope that the touch judge was adamant about what he saw and ultimately reported to the referee, and the referee really
doesn't have any option.
Well, he has almost no option. If a touch judge is saying, I've just witnessed player X hit player Y directly with a punch in the face, you're a brave man to go against your touch judge.
It was just the charge. I just thought, look at the evidence, because people were saying didn't say anything. The television cameras were saying we didn't say anything. To then charge him and to then have that charge knocked down, I think it's almost where the procedure of deciding how you're going to grade it and what the punishment is doesn't fit the crime, and you're opening yourselves up then to look ridiculous.
Possibly. The reverse argument is they've let it play out in the full due process, so in effect it's gone to court, hasn't it? And they've let the case go to court, as opposed to the Crown Prosecution Service saying no, we're not going to proceed with it. So they've let it go the full course, and justice has been seen to be served, hasn't it? Yeah, the danger in that is that you end up potentially looking a little bit silly, but look, somebody might have produced another angle that showed there was a punch. I don't know. I've been surprised because there's enough Sky camera angles.
Absolutely.
And they would have had access. What normally happens is Sky would normally, at the end of the game, would put all the different angles of an incident together on a tape.
Yep.
And that would go to the RFL. So they would have, in theory, and I'm not saying they did, but in theory they should have had access to every single camera angle. And if it doesn't get picked up on every single camera angle, then you do have to question whether actually the touch judge, what he did see, what he thought was a punch, wasn't. And look,
that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody had a problem with the fact that if somebody genuinely saw that, then if there's evidence that didn't happen, why go to the point?
No, I accept that point. I didn't think he would be charged, so I was surprised. So,
Lauren Oden, match review panel. That's what I'm going to pitch to ITV. I'm going to go and tell me that.